I want to finish up with a little basketball. And the Knicks are winning right now. I don't think they're winning anything this year. I think this team is a rebuilding team. I think they need to start trading away pieces. I think they need to figure out what they're doing with R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. They have one player, and that's their star point guard. Jalen Brunson is the only decent player on this team. This team stinks. Julius Randle, they have a contract they can't get rid of. Fournier, they're all garbage. They have some good young players. Grimes looks like he's starting to develop, but if they don't have a centerpiece, they're never going anywhere. And they thought R.J. Barrett was going to be that guy. They were wrong. I still think R.J. Barrett's going to be a good player, but he's more of a number 2. He'll never be a Batman. And Brunson, even though I think he could be somewhat of a Batman, I think he's more like a Robin too. I think they have 2 Robins and they don't have a Batman. If they had a good Batman, maybe they'd be a playoff contender and maybe a championship contender team.
They brought in Brunson originally to improve the floor spacing and have more of a true point guard. He could shoot. He could definitely drive to the hoop. He's an undersized guy, so they don't want to have to wear him out because we've seen a lot of point guards get worn out because of usage rate, and then they get worse later in their career. R.J. Barrett is the biggest issue. He's shooting 40.3% and 28.5% from 3. He's improved from the free throw line. 77. The rest of it is not going to cut it. Julius Randle, I would hope they could trade. This is the best value you're going to probably get. 21.6 points and 8.8 rebounds.
Tom Thibodeau needs to be done. Kenny Atkinson is the guy that I think fits very, very well with the New York Knicks, especially with some of the young players. And with Kenny Atkinson, you just rebuild. You do have a lot of draft stock. You can build around the draft. But right now, out of the 3 guys that everybody was talking about that year with Williamson and Ja Morant and R.J. Barrett was the top prospect going into that season. He falls to the Knicks, and everybody says, wow, the Knicks got a steal. R.J. Barrett, out of all 3 of those guys, is the worst. You have Ja Morant, who's the best, and one of the best point guards in the league. And then you have Williamson. If he could stay healthy, he's better than Ja Morant. And I still think he'll be a Knick. If R.J. Barrett is still there, and I know he took that contract, Zion Williamson will ask to be traded. His family already said he doesn't want to be there. So I do believe he'll be a Knick. I just don't know when. Are the Knicks going to get him in the prime? They had a chance to bring in a superstar in his prime, and they absolutely blew it. So if Williamson wants to be here, they have to find every possible way to bring him here. The Knicks do have 2 of his buddies from the Duke Blue Devils. The Dukies.
It is time for Crunch Time.
It's time for Crunch Time.
Read the time. Gotta see the pitch.
All right, let's start with some baseball. Buy or sell. Now it's Xander Bogaerts being signed by the Padres. Fernando Tatis will be traded.
I'm going to sell that. We have to see what he is on the field. If he's a good player again without steroids, why would they trade him? He's too talented a player. He's a 5-tool player. He can hit for average. Maybe he doesn't hit as many home runs, but it doesn't matter. Shifting is now gone. He's still a fantastic player. I believe that they won't trade him, so I will sell it.
I'm going to buy it. I think realizing they went to the LCS without him last year, I think they have a lot of confidence in a lot of the other talent around him. They've been good at making good trades when they need to, and I think Bogaerts they trust as a durable veteran leader that has World Series and playoff experience to take them to that next level. I think they will trade Tatis. I think his issues are being mounted where they could overcome it last year, so I will buy that. The youngster Brock Purdy will have more passing yards than Tom Brady.
I buy it. I don't know what's going on with Tom Brady. The offensive line isn't protecting him. They put a lot of stress on him, and he has to make more plays in the open field that he never did with the Patriots. He never had to do when he won the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers a couple of years ago. I just don't know if this Buccaneer team is ready to win this year. I think this is his last year, and I think he'll be done watching this garbage of an offensive line. But Purdy is going to be the better quarterback. He has the better offensive line, and he has the better defense that's going to get at Tom Brady big time. So I absolutely buy it.
I'm going to buy it too. You don't need net yardage to have more passing yards. You can just rely on yards after the catch, which I think the Niners could do. I think Christian McCaffrey will have a lot of receiving yards. I think Deebo Samuel after the catch is going to be a big thing against an older Buccaneers defense. So I absolutely am going to buy that. Deion Sanders, flashy hire at Colorado. Buy or sell? Once the 12-team playoffs come in, he will make the college football playoffs within the first 3 years.
I'll sell that. I think it's going to take him a little while. He does have 200 players right now want to jump into the portal, come and play over there with him, Colorado. He has a great coaching staff. We'll have to see if he can actually coach in a high-profile Division I school. Do I think he can? Oh, it's prime time. He's very well respected, not only around college football, but the NFL, and I think he can find a way to get these guys to play for him. So I think it's going to take him a little bit longer, but I do believe if he keeps going the path the way he's going, I think he will. But I'll sell that.
Yeah, I'll sell the first 3 years. I think it'll take once USC and UCLA get out of the Pac-12. There might be other expansion within there, but those teams are going to need to take time. But
there's no question I think he'll do it.
I think he'll do it at some point, maybe 5 years from now.
4 years.
Once that kind of reputation comes into effect, because the transfer portal's not going to stop.
I don't think it's going to be in Colorado. I don't think he's going to stay there more than 3 years. I think he's going to prove himself for 3 years, get a lot of these recruits to come come over there and play with him, and he's going to get Colorado in a pretty good position in a top 20 ranking, fall short in a top 10. When a position opens up where he wants to go, a Miami team or a Florida team, that's where I think he goes.
Yeah, nevertheless, I am going to sell that. The Pac-12 always gets themselves in their own way. Jacob deGrom will be traded before the end of his Rangers contract.
I'll sell that. There's no trade clause. I think he wants to set up shop over there in Texas, buy a farm, and that's where he wants to raise his kids, so I'm selling it.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it too. I think at that point, either they're going to get the young kids to finally work, whether they make the playoffs or win World Series.
Jacob doesn't care about winning World Series. Jacob cares about getting his money and raising his kids and leaving everybody behind, including the press. He doesn't want to deal with the press.
But I do think there's a path where they could get better later, because I do think they have enough offensive talent. It's just a matter of if they can get all the pitching with the rest of the money they have, so I am going to sell that. Garrett Wilson will have more catches or receiving yards than Stephon Diggs.
I'm going to buy it. I like what I've seen with Garrett Wilson, the confidence level, what he has done against top-end type of corners this year. Patrick Peterson last week couldn't stop him. They tried to double team. They tried to triple team him. They couldn't stop him in the open field. 8 catches for 160 yards. I think it's going to be a little bit of the same. He's not going to have 160 yards against White, but I think he can have close to 100 yards. But I think he is going to cause a big mismatch in the open field, because you could put him in the slot, you could put him on the outside, you can move him all over the field, and they love to do it. And he's a guy that doesn't drop the ball. So, yeah, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I think he'll have more catches than Diggs does. I think Diggs will have some big plays.
Yeah, I do too. It's just not a good red zone team.
Yeah, they maneuvered him around the field in the first meeting very well. That's why he did have a big game, even though he was shut down in the fourth quarter. Stephon Diggs, I think, will still have more yards, but I think Garrett Wilson will have more catches. I think they'll get him more involved after the catch against a Bills secondary that's banged up. So I am going to buy that. The Yankees will sign Carlos Rodon.
Absolutely buy it. I think they're planning to do it by the end of this weekend. If they don't do it, they're going to be attacked because they gave Aaron Judge $360 million. I think the Yankees want to open up their pocket. I think the Yankees have a plan moving forward with Brian Cashman, and if they can boost up this starting rotation, add a little pitches in that bullpen, they find a hitter here and there, they have a very good farm system. They trust the farm system will be up and ready to go this year. So I'd buy it, baby.
Yeah, I'm buying it too. That's a good contract. 6 years, $30 million a year. That I think is perfect for what Brian Cashman likes to do. He likes left-handed pitching. He likes pitchers that he can control, and young guys. I think it's a perfect match made in heaven for that. And Carlos Rodon wants to win, and the Yankees have a great chance to do that.
He grew up a Yankee fan too, by the way.
That definitely helps the cause. I will buy it. All right, last one. Both Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert will have 250-plus yards
100%.
and 2+ touchdowns.
100%. This is going to be an absolute war between both quarterbacks because they both have something to prove. And I think Tua is going to win big time. Not because I don't think Justin Herbert could keep up with him. I think he's just as good, even better than Tua. But Tua has more weapons. And I think they can run the ball. They can throw the ball. All around, they have the better defense. So I absolutely believe they're both going to have over 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm going to buy it.
This one I'll disagree. I'm going to sell this one only because I think Miami's going to run really well in this game. The Chargers can't stop the run. Jeff Wilson has been a great player since he's come over to Miami. He only really struggled against his former team last week in the 49ers. They got Raheem Mostert back. I think they're going to go up big where they're not going to have to throw as much. I think he'll do well. I think he'll have 220-something and 2 touchdowns. Herbert definitely will. I think he'll have to throw the ball a lot in this game to be able to come back, but I don't think Tua does because I think that running game will help him. I will sell it.
Before we go, I want to announce that Brittany Griner is now home for all that crap that happened over there in Russia. 11 months in the jails over there, and I could only imagine what she has seen. The Russian jails are one of the worst in the world, and for the fact that a 6'10" woman dealt with all the crap that she's dealt with over the last couple of months, I feel bad. But, you know, if she wasn't a superstar player, WNBA superstar, she was some Joe Schmo like me and you, we would still be sitting behind bars. It's crazy. But then again, I'm happy that she's home. I'm happy that she's safe. Shout out to the Griner family.
Absolutely.